I'm gonna talk to you about the tragedy of how I ended Christmas for my whole family.
Walking through the crease and the cracks of the streets, struggling for some food and a bed to sleep, while trying to cause overthrow. I'm feeling weak, ideology buff, overgrown.
All right, salute to all the deadbeat parents and fucked up families. Bro, if it wasn't for my genes, that would have put some goddamn hair on my chest. Ugh. And my throat, probably my throat too, some hairballs. Hairballs. Here's my background. My mom gave me up when I was 3 months old because I was black, because a pedophile she was dating didn't want to help raise a black child. She gave me to my racist grandmother who beat me my whole life and abused me. I think I was like 15, and man, at that time I'd be ripping and running the streets. I've been doing my thing, you know, whatever. Not super hard, I'm not a gangster or nothing, but I was in the streets. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But my grandma ended up calling me a dumb nigger at one point. And to give an explanation, she's white. Like, my mom's side's white. You know what I mean? I'm black, but you know, my dad's black, my mom's white. So she ended up calling me a dumb nigger, right? So my grandma is this pudgy, older white woman with a cane and a rainbow belt. And the rainbow belt, she used to beat the living shit out of me with that. That's why, like, I don't like rainbows to this day. Like, I don't like rainbows. I hate rainbows. I don't like the rainbow patterns on anything. I mean, actual rainbow I'm cool with, but this color scheme. So incels, MGTOW and all y'all, no transphobia. I just don't like rainbows because I was beat by a rainbow belt, so yeah. Anyways, so after she beat me with that over and over again, it just got to a point I got too old. I remember she tried to hit me with the cane, and I'm like, nah, and I took it. I'm like, no, you ain't doing it to me no more. And she'd have me, anytime she'd have a fit, right, she would just be not feeling good. She'd take it out on me. Well, she called me dumb nigger for taking a cane. That point, she had this stack of movies, right? And you know bookshelves? She had bookshelves full of movies. Like, the old VHS ones too, so they're like heavy. So what I ended up actually doing at that point, when she called me a dumb nigger, is I kind of had a psychotic break. First thing I did was I flipped all the movies over. All the movies on the ground. Went outside, I grabbed the table, and I threw it through the front window. Not to hurt her, just to let my anger loose, I guess. I don't really know. It was kind of weird because I don't know if y'all know about psychotic break, but when you have one, you kind of just don't, you feel like you're not in your body anymore. Like, I felt like I was watching myself do this. I didn't feel like I was actually interacting, if that makes any sense. From that point, I went to juvie, and going to a mental hospital, and then getting out and released to rest bed. I stayed there a little bit, and then I had to go to my grandma's. Not the grandma who beat me, but my step grandmother, who was actually very kind to me and loving to me. And she used to be the person who would throw the big Christmases. Now, my other grandma was never invited because she's so toxic and abusive, but I mean, she was invited, but she never came, so might as well have been not invited. Nobody really wanted her there. And those were beautiful. Like, my grandma put in so much work to make everybody happy, bring the family together. But at that point in my life, and this was probably right before the holidays actually, you know, I was ripping and running the streets. Like, I was out there selling weed, hitting licks, just doing my thing. I remember I ended up getting jumped at one point, like shit beat out of me. And so my grandma didn't want me to leave the house. When I went to leave the house, she was not gonna let me do it. And she literally physically tackled me to the ground. Now, this was a love tackle. Don't get twisted. Like, she was scared that I would leave out those doors and never come back. And that was just real fear. Like, you know what I mean? That woman had real fear for my life. But then my grandpa came in. So I gotta rewind a little bit. So when I was younger, I was molested, right? And it's a lot of anger problems and shit, you know? A lot of shit. I mean, and that was only like a touch of things, but molestation wasn't the worst things that happened to me. It was usually like assaultive, violent, like physical violence. It wasn't much
sexual violence, which is also very violent, clearly. One thing is, when my aunt was talking to me about the sexual violence that I'd faced, she confided into me that my grandfather had molested her and my mother when they were children. Now, it really isn't a good idea to give sensitive information you don't want to get out, especially about perpetrators, to a child. Because after all that shit happened, I was already really vulnerable space, right? I was super vulnerable. And all that stuff was going down, and I had, like, you know, my grandma, like, being super racist to me, like, just in the streets, just being really hard and rough, like, you know what I mean, getting jumped all the time, you know, having people out for me, trying to look out for the homies when they were getting jumped on, and just having issues, you know what I mean, just shit that happens, street shit, you know, and I had a lot of stress on me. So when my grandpa came in and started talking crazy to me, and tried to put his hands on me, I flashed. When I flashed, not like with hands, but I just let it all out. Called him a chimo and a piece of shit, and all the things I had been holding in that whole time. That generally isn't how you want to behave when somebody who's a survivor gives you information and confidence. But I was kind of a child, so it kind of was like, what could you expect? But still, I'm not my proudest moment. So when I called him out, I went off. That set into a whole different spiral, right? I was mad suicidal and some more stuff too, so that was a whole thing. But it set on a whole new spiral. Because then when my grandma investigated that, made some calls, that tore the family apart. Everybody stopped talking. Nobody communicated with my grandmother because they were like, she won't believe that about him. And they're probably right, but she was winnable. It takes some time because she loved him. You know, she really loved him, like 30-something years of their life together, love. But again, when it falls back, it's on me. So all those Christmases that she put together stopped happening. Just stopped. You know, my very first lesson about holding confidence when it came to sexual assault. People tell you about their sexual assault. Maybe it was the first lesson. No, that was the first lesson where I was like really off base with it. But at the same time, I don't think adults should confide into children and expect it to stay on the low, you know? So, that's the story. That's how I destroyed Christmas for my family. My family never had to collect the Christmas ever again. My grandma is now passed, and so is my grandfather. Nobody talks, still to this day. My grandma who beat me is also passed. And it just kind of feels hollow on Christmas and painful. But I do my best to push through and to build and to bring something that maybe other people could learn from, that people could relate to. And maybe we'll know that we're not alone and we'll support each other. So I hope that's what people got from the story time. That's what was meant from it. And I thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for fucking with me. Thank y'all for hearing my stories, my pain, my trauma, you know, all that. Make sure to hit the like button if you like this. If you learned something from it, please tell me in the comment section what you learned. Tell me some of your experiences you've had, you know. Hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay notified. All right, hashtag Villain Squad in the comment section so I know you on the team. And if you want to support me, you can follow me on villain_music on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, TikTok, and all the socials, really. Or you can follow me right here at Overthrow Media. You know, subscribe. Hit the bell, like I said earlier. All them things, you know. And if y'all really, really fuck with me and want to keep this going, y'all can get over here to this Teespring, cop some of the dope-ass t-shirts. Or if you really want to keep the lights on and you support me directly, you can become a Patreon and then support me on a monthly basis. And that helps keep the lights on, keep this content coming out on a regular basis, you know what I mean? So, I appreciate everybody just rolling with me. I'm gonna catch y'all later.
I just wanted to give one more big thank you to all my Patreons who make this possible, whose names are flying across the screen right now. And if you want to see more videos, check out this end screen. Also, if you like this song, you can find the link in the description.
Betrayals and rivalries, low on hope when these are the signs that I see. Humanity on narcissist deconsuming till we cannot exist.